Hi and welcome to Kaylin-Tech Lesson 7. We're going to expand a little bit on is here. So what we're going to look at is we're going to keep the same routers as before, London, Bristol, Edinburgh, Leeds. But we're going to have London and Leeds in area 1, Bristol and Edinburgh in area 2, and the net address we will change, as you can see here, to 2. Okay, so the area becomes 2. In area 1, London and Leeds, we're going to turn into level 1 only routers. And in area 2, level 2 only routers. We'll ignore the, we won't actually ignore the attached bits. The attached bits, just in case you want to know what it is, the LSPs of a level 1, level 2 router will advertise into a level 1 area only. Will advertise the nearest level 1, level 2 router to a particular level 1 router that says any prefix that you don't know about, use this default route to me being the nearest level 1, level 2 router. Okay, so that's any prefix that the level 1 area doesn't know about. That's what the attached bit says for it to do. Naturally, one of the good times to turn the attached bit off is if you're under, let's just say, a DDoS attack. Then you can confine it to the level 1 area. It won't be, because it'll be from a prefix that the level 1 won't know about. It can ignore it and it won't forward it to the level 1, level 2, which will then propagate it throughout the rest of the network. Okay, so without further ado, let's get on and configure everything. Okay, so we're going to start with the Leeds router, and the reason we're going to start with the Leeds one is because it's the one that's at the end of the links. So if we were to have a look at the diagram again, it's this system down here. Its only connection is to London. If we start on London, we won't be able to see properly the effects on everything else. Okay, so we'll start with the furthest most system of Leeds. So let's go back to our configuration. Let's log on. Okay, so let's have a look at the configuration first. As can be seen, I've removed the authentication. It's in area 1. And all the ISO and everything from the previous lesson is still there. So the first thing we can do is we can do show route. We'll have a look at the protocol is. Okay, so as we can see all of the networks. So we know that this is the connection from Bristol to Edinburgh, which is the furthest most connection. This is the local connection. Okay, learnt by is anyway. Sorry, this is the connection between London and Bristol. So we also have our Edinburgh, Bristol, London loopbacks. Obviously, we don't have our own loopback in this because it's just is that we're looking at. If we were to do a show route in general, then we would obviously see our directly connected here. Okay, of 4444. So let's have a quick look at the database. So if we do a show is, and these are all the options we've got. Okay, we can get quite a lot of information from this. So we'll do a show is database. Now we also have options of seeing it extensive, detail, brief, and an instance or a level or a logical system and a system ID. Okay, but for the moment we'll just have a look at that database. Okay, so if you notice here, we've got 2 databases because this is a level 1, level 2 router at the moment. So we've got level 1 link state, and there's our database with our LSPs. Okay, and this is our level 2 with our LSPs. Okay, so we see that we've got both level 2, level 1. Okay, let's have a look at our show is route. Okay, this shows it in a little bit more detail of how we get to different networks. Okay, via what? Via the protocol itself and the metrics for that and the interface. Okay, we only have the one interface going out, so they're all obviously going to have been learned on AE 1.0. So now that we've had a look at that, let's go into edit mode or configure mode, and we're going to do set protocols is, and remember we want this to be a level 1 area, so we're going to disable level 2. Okay, so we'll disable level 2 and we'll commit that. Okay, so we'll exit out of this, and what we're going to do is we're going to have a quick look at the database again. Okay, so what's the big difference that we see here? So the big difference that we actually see is that we have our level 1 link state database, but we don't have a level 2 anymore. Okay, we can do a show is overview. So let's have a look at an overview of what we've got. So as you can see, attached bit evaluation is enabled. So if it sees the attached bit and it's got prefixes it doesn't know about, it'll forward it via the default route. Okay. It gives us our router ID, which will always be the loopback, the host name, and the system ID, which we've taken from the loopback address, the area ID, the hold down timers, okay, the maximum areas, LSP lifetimes, etc., etc., etc. Throughout the whole thing, we see it all in here. Okay. Wide metrics enabled, narrow metrics enabled is a good example of what we want to see. Okay, layer 2 map obviously disabled. Okay, we don't have any level 2 and the layer 2 map itself being disabled. So what does that tell us within our routing table itself? Okay, so you'll note that there really is, in fact, actually, let's take that down to the protocol level, because we only want to have a look at is at the moment. It actually makes no difference whatsoever. Okay, we still have all of our routes showing. Okay, so our Edinburgh loopback, our Bristol loopback, our London loopback, our Bristol Edinburgh network link, and our London Bristol link. Okay, so we see all of those still. Why do we see all of those though? Well, that's because our London router here is still a level 1, level 2 router. So it will act as an area border router, that has an interface in one area and an interface in another area. Okay, so it will still forward this traffic across. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go to London now, and we're going to see what happens once we deactivate level 2 on the London system. So let's have a look at the configuration first, so that you can see that there's nothing different on there or out of the ordinary at the moment from what we did in the last lesson. Okay, so we have the area, loopback address, and all the ISO information, as you can see here, and the protocol is itself. So let's have a look at the database on this system. So again, we have level 1 database, and we have a level 2 database showing our LSPs. Let's have a quick look at the route. Okay, so it shows all the routes as it should do, which is quite correct. Okay, remember the other 2 routes, you're not going to see it in is because they're directly connected. Okay, so what we're going to do as well is we'll have a quick overview look. Okay, so again, 22, 222, area 1, all the rest exactly the same. Okay, all right, okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go into edit mode, and we're going to do the same on this system. Okay, remembering that if we go back to leads and we have a look at show route protocol, we see all of the routes, okay, that we expect to see within is. So let's go back to London and we're going to do a set protocols is level 2. So we are now creating a level 1 only network or area. Okay, so that's committed. Now let's go back to leads and take note of this. Okay, let's have a look at what we've got now. Okay, now the reason we still have this, okay, and it's very important to note this, the reason we still have all the networks as showing, okay, if you can answer me, that would be perfect before I point this out to you as to why we still have all those networks showing. Okay, even though we're a level 1 system now. Okay, let me show you why. It's because Bristol is still a level 1, level 2 router. So it's still going to advertise into this level 1 only network. It's still going to advertise these networks here because they're still level 1, level 2s, okay, in here. So what we need to do to show this really working is now create these at level 2. Okay, so if we were to take the Bristol one to a level 2 only, we'll see what happens with the routing tables over here. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So we'll log on to the Bristol one. And the first thing we'll do is we'll have a look at the configuration. So as you can see, it's nothing out of the ordinary here. It's still area 1. Okay, but the first thing we'll do is we are going to go into edit mode and we're going to set protocols. And remember, we want this to be a level 2 network, this one, or area. Okay, so set protocols is level 1 disable this time. Okay, so we're going to disable level 1. Okay, so we've committed that. We'll exit back. Now we're going to go to leads, and now we're going to have a look and see what networks we've got available to us. Okay, so let's have a look now. So as you can see, it's now updated. The timeouts have finished. And what we have now is we only have our locally known networks. Okay, we will see this one, the connection from London to Bristol, and the reason we'll see that is because it's part of the level 1 network. Okay, so we will actually see that. So can we ping, for example? Yes, we can. Can we ping .1? We should be able to. We can't, sorry, no, because I thought that was the London one. That's the Bristol side, and we won't be able to from the Bristol side because, as stated, level 1 cannot advertise unless it sees the attached bit, or unless it sees the attached bit for unknown prefixes, or it sees a level 1, level 2 router. And that's because that router over the other side now will only have a level 2 link state database, and this will only have a level 1, as I can show you now. Show is. So there is no level 2 link state database, there's only a level 1. And if we go to Bristol and we have a look, we don't have a level 1, as can be seen. We only have a level 2. Okay, and that's why we have that issue. Now, again, if I was to change this back to a level 1, level 2 system, we'd see all the routes again. So what we'll do now is we'll go to Edinburgh, and we'll do the same here. So we can do a show configuration display set. Okay, and we see in there that there's none of the disabling of level 1 or level 2 in here. However, we still see both level 1 and level 2 link states. Okay, so what do we see if we do a show is route? But we will only see the prefix for the local systems, okay, that are on the Bristol router all its own. And the reason for that is because we've still got this information with regards to the lifetimes and the hold down timers. Okay, and we will see that. As you can see, the timers are going down. So what we'll do on here is, because we want to create a level 2 only, so we'll go into edit mode and we'll set protocols is level 1 disable, and we'll commit that. We'll exit, and it may take a few seconds for this to show, but no, there we go. So we've lost the level 1 straight away. Now also we can create now our separate area with regards to this. Okay, so if we were to do a run show configuration display set, okay, so what we can do is we can delete our net address, and we can set our net address, but what we're going to do is we're going to change it to a 2 because we want area 2, and we'll commit that. Okay, and if we were to have a look at that now, you'll notice we've now got it in area 2. And we can go to Bristol, and we can do the same thing here. Okay, so we'll go to edit and we'll do a delete, and we will remove this, and we will put it into a new area. And we will commit that. And if we were to exit and do a show run, show configure, then we have this in the other area as well. Now, as I've stated, we only have to, in reality, put one of these to a level 1, level 2 system. Now, we can inject routes into other systems via route leaking, but what we'll do is we'll have a look at that when we actually get onto proper route leaking configurations. So let's have a quick look at the database here now, and again, I think I showed you this before. We don't have a level 1. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll go back to we're on Bristol, sorry. So we are now going to do an edit, and we are going to do a delete. Protocols is level 1 disable, and we'll commit that. Okay, and we're going to exit that. So we now need to configure London as a level 1, level 2 as well, so that we see this link between the two areas, because of course we've changed the actual area code as well. So we're going to need to ensure that we have a level 1, level 2 in both areas. So we go to London, we edit, and we delete protocols is level 2 disable, and we'll commit that. Okay, and we're going to exit there. Okay, we're going to go back to Bristol, and we're going to have a look at the protocols again. And as you can see, the reason we didn't see anything in the level 1 was because we have 2 different areas. Okay, and we must have, if it's in the same area, that's different, but we must have a level 1, level 2 at the edge of each area when it's 2 completely different areas that we want to inject the routes into those different areas. Okay, so that's the reason for that. If there's any other questions regarding attached bits, how we inject the routes across, it's all been covered here. You've seen the information. What we can do is we can go to leads, and we can have a look at we'll have a look at the database here, but because this is still only a level 1 system, it will still only see the level 1 routes. Okay, so what we can do there is we can do let's have a look at the is route. Okay, so we've got all the local routes and the default, obviously. The default, because the attached bit is being sent. Okay, that's where you see the default once the attached bit is being sent. Okay, right, that covers that slightly more advanced lesson. It's still basic, but it's a little bit more advanced. As I said before, as we go further through, we will increase the complexity of the actual networks that we are working on. Hope you enjoyed this lesson. Thank you. Bye bye.